So I've been getting a lot of questions about what I'm cooking for Chinese New Year or what are some dishes that are festive and good for a crowd. So today I'm going to share with you an extremely popular Nonya dish called Babi Pongteh. So this is commonly seen on the dinner table of Peranakan families or as part of a panjang, which is a dining experience meant for celebrations like weddings, birthdays or Chinese New Year. And this is also a very important dish for the Peranakans during ancestral prayers known as semayang. So first of all, you want to fill a wok with water and bring that to a boil while you cut your pork belly into chunks. Peranakan cooking is actually a marriage of Chinese and Malay cuisine, but one of the key features is that Peranakan cooking uses pork, which is a culinary taboo for the Malays. So traditionally, pig trotters are used for this dish, but I prefer using pork belly because that's more accessible to me and it's easier to handle. And also the thick layer of fat on this cut keeps it nice and moist when it's cooked. And then we're just going to put the pork belly in the boiling water to kind of remove some of the impurities and the scum from the pork. This can also remove unpleasant odors. So after about 2 or 3 minutes, remove the pork belly from the wok. You want to throw out this water and then you want to give the pork belly a good rinse under the tap. So this step also allows for the pork belly to take on color. So we're going to add some dark soy sauce. We're just going to toss that through so that the pork belly is coated in the dark soy sauce. And then we're going to allow this pork to marinate for about 30 minutes. And now we're going to prepare our aromats, which is some onions and some garlic. Unlike other Nonya dishes, there is no spices, no, full-on kind of rempah. And so it's really quite simple to prepare. So what I'm doing is I'm chopping up some onions and some garlic. Some people like to blend it, but even when you do blend it, I find that most recipes keep it quite coarse. So I prefer to chop it. So you just want to heat up some oil in your wok and fry the onions first until it's nicely caramelized. And then add your garlic. And with the garlic, you just want to fry it for like just 1 minute so that it doesn't burn or get bitter. And then we're going to add dalchio. So dalchio is actually fermented soybean paste. And this is actually a quintessential ingredient in Peranakan cooking because Peranakan cooking draws from a lot of Chinese influences, and this is remnant of its roots to classic Chinese cuisine. So you want to add the dalchio to the onions and garlic and allow it to fry gently until it's really fragrant. And then we're going to deglaze it with some water. And then we're going to add our pork belly, some dried mushrooms. Some people advocate for soaking and then removing the stalks and then adding it in. I just add it in at this stage because there's less fussing around. And then you just season it with some gula melaka, which is coconut sugar, some soy sauce and some salt. So if you taste the liquid at this stage, it might feel a bit less flavorful than what you might expect from this dish. But resist the urge to add more dalchio or more soy sauce because the liquid will reduce. So cover the wok and let this cook for about 1 hour on low heat. Here I have some potatoes and I've just cut them around the same size as the pork. And I'm gonna add it to the wok. This is not a compulsory ingredient, but I do like it because I feel that it gives the Babi Pongteh a little bit more heft. So after you've added in your potatoes, you want to give it a stir and you want to let that cook for about 1 more hour just so that the pork belly is even more tender and your potatoes are fully cooked. This has been a total of 2 hours of cooking. As you can see, the sauce in the wok is still quite watery, but in general, I feel that Babi Pongteh tends to have like a thicker sauce that is almost coating the meat and the potatoes. So what I do is I turn the heat up on high and allow that to cook just for another about 3 minutes so that the sauce can reduce and coat everything. This is the consistency that you want. You want it almost clinging onto the potatoes and to the meat. But of course, like, any other dish out there, it's entirely up to you. You want to make sure that it's properly seasoned. I didn't need to add any salt to mine. It was already really full flavored. So you want to dish this up, put it in a nice dish for serving. I think this is especially important during Chinese New Year, where you want like a really nice presentation. This seems like the finished dish, but I feel that chilies are indispensable for this dish. So here are some chilies that we've been growing at home. And what I'm doing is something that I learned when I was working at Kennel Nut. So when I was working there, I saw that there was this garnish of hand crushed chilies that I've never seen before. But I feel that it's a really, really nice touch. I think it adds like a certain rustic element to the dish as opposed to if you were to slice your chilies. So I really, really like this garnish. So just use a teaspoon and just break the chilies up. And then you can scatter that on top of your Babi Pongteh. If you have some coriander at home, it's a nice touch to the dish. And then it's ready to be eaten. So you can see how soft the potatoes are. It's fork tender. You can also see how tender the pork belly is. And this is a dish that demands to be eaten with white rice. So I highly recommend cooking rice for this dish. What really makes this dish so unique is that sauce, it's like really flavorful and it coats everything. I think that's the main difference between this and say a Chinese pork belly braise, I feel that for Chinese braises, it tends to be more watery. If it's not watery, it's usually thickened with cornstarch. Very, very comforting. And yet, you get the kick from the chilies and that fresh herbaceousness from the coriander. And for me, the best part is the sauce, because when that sauce is drizzled over rice, it's like the best thing. So if you're still thinking about what to cook for Chinese New Year as your main dish, I highly recommend this dish.